Hey, how's it going? This is Ninja Monkey Video School. This is video number 3, how to set up your editing library in Final Cut 10. Now, preparing your editing library in the right way, I think, is one of the most important parts of the editing process. A lot of times the editing library will be called the editing project, things like that. In other editing programs, in Final Cut X, it's called an editing library. Super important to get this organized in the right way, not just for the speed, but be able to go back and find anything very quickly, not be able to not have to waste a lot of time looking for things. That could be one of the most wasteful parts of the editing process. I was told when I started editing, if you can't find a clip in about 5 seconds, you're a pretty bad editor. 5 to 10 seconds, you would say. Find one specific individual clip that maybe a client has asked for. If you're spending several minutes looking for a clip, your project is not organized and you're not a very efficient editor, and that's going to slow you down in all parts of the editing process. Now, let's talk about how I prepare my editing library for the editing process. The first thing I'm going to do is go into Final Cut. So basically, I'm going to create a new editing library for this. This is going to be for this wedding. It's going to be for 1118, Becky and Alex. So what I first do is I copy the name so I don't have to write it again, and I have the exact name that I had here. I go into the Final Cut and I go new library. I don't have a shortcut set up for this. I'm sure I could have a shortcut set up for this. At this point I don't, so I'll just go right into here. And I have them all saved into a folder in my Final Cut Pro editing projects. And this is all saved on a fast Thunderbolt hard drive. This allows me to edit the editing project without getting slowed down or anything like that. And I'll save it into here. I've already edited this, so I don't have any conflicts. I'm just going to call this Video School. And I know that this is exactly the project. I'm going to go through an entire editing project from start to finish, so you can see the whole thing. You can kind of get an idea of everything that I do, and it's going to be for a real wedding. All right, let's save this right into that folder. All right, so now we have an editing library here in Final Cut. I'm going to close all of my other ones. This is one of the cool things of Final Cut X. You could have a bunch of different editing libraries in here versus in other editing programs like Premiere. You can only have one, and you have to basically close it and then open another one. So right here I have this event. Basically, this event was pre-named 1/8/18. I usually change this into edit. And if I wanted to do another variation of this, you can see basically I'll have editing. But if I want to basically duplicate all my work and start again for whatever reason, I could duplicate this initial event. So after you've renamed the initial event that it created to editing, I'll create a folder for my master clips. These are all my original video clips that were shot on the original camera on the day of the wedding. So I'll put Shift Command N. That's the shortcut to create a new folder, and I'll name this Master Clips. This is kind of like an old school editing terminology that I was taught in film school, master clips. These are the master clips, the initial clips, pretty much the most important thing that you have. These are the original assets. Now, basically what I do to make things go a little bit faster is I drag these two windows next to each other. So I'll have the Finder window right next to my editing software right here, and I'll go into Becky and Alex, my video. I have all the cameras, so I'll create a keyword collection in here. Create a keyword collection is Shift Command K, and I'm going to name that camera. I'm going to name this camera 1, camera A, sorry, and we're going to create a folder for all our camera clips, and we'll just name that video. And then we'll have another one for our camera B. As we can see in there, we have a camera B and we have drone footage. So we'll create a keywords collection for both of those. Now, what you basically have to do, since you have these right next to each other, is just to drag them in. I'm going to show you the first one just so you have an idea. This is a process that takes a little bit of time and you have to wait for, so I'm not going to do all of them right here on camera, but just get you an idea. What I basically do is go into the final folder and I Command A to basically select everything. And then I just drag it right over into the camera A. That's only going to be the first thing. It gets a second. You're going to get a beach ball for a few seconds, depending on how much RAM. I'm sure if you have a better Mac than me, you don't have to wait as long, but I basically have to wait a few seconds. Now you can go into card 2, DCIM 100 PANA, Command A. Make sure you have it selected. Sometimes it gives you a little bit of a pain when you're trying to go back and forth after doing a bunch. Sometimes it doesn't. Right here it's not. So bam, give it a second. It's going to import all these clips. So you basically have to repeat that for all your clips in all your cameras. You repeat that for the camera B, repeat that for your drone footage. It's all going to work in a similar fashion. The drone footage, I don't have subfolders. So you drag these all in. Now I'll show you kind of how this library will work at the end once I have it organized. The master clips are right here, audio and video, and these are all my camera A clips. It's going to take a second to load because this is a separate library. Now you can see them all in a list like this. I'm going to close a few things so you can have we're not looking at that timeline. Alright, you can see them all in a list like this. This could be useful for you if you're doing certain things. Personally, when I'm looking through a lot of the clips all at the same time, I like to use the other view. The other view lets you, it's a thumbnail view, and it lets you see all of the clips, lets you slide through them in real time, go through the different clips, basically have a very fast way of selecting things, and you can dragging them into other folders. The way that the next step that I basically have is creating an organized clips folder. That organized clips folder will create right here in our editing project that we're working on. So new folder, organized clips. And then we'll create basically, I create different keywords for each of the parts of the day. I'll have a folder for the pre-ceremony, and I'll have basically pre-ceremony bride, pre-ceremony groom, the details of the pre-ceremony. Each of these will basically have the details or any close-up shots that I got, anything interesting like that. Establishing is anything from the outside, so my drone shots are going to be in my establishing. You can see right here all my cool shots. And then I'll have reception, I have ceremony. These are ceremony sync, are basically all the clips that I'm going to sync. You can see right here, it's a little bit easier to see them, and it's pretty easy to see the different cameras by the file names. These are basically one camera, the 1000 in the beginning, and the 1440 are another camera. It's my wide shot, and that's my closer shot. And ceremony details, sometimes, and I could just switch back and forth pretty quickly and look at them this way. These are details of the ceremony. And then reception, I'll have everything for my reception, so all the dancing shots would be in here. I just basically drag all, I'm going to show you how that works right now. Those are all the folders that I'm going to create. In the reception, I'll also have reception sync. I'll make sure you don't miss that. And that's basically all the files that I'm going to sync in the reception. We'll show you syncing in a later video. We'll kind of get a little bit more into that. So now in my organized clips, we'll do pre-ceremony details. So I'll shift command K, pre-ceremony details. Usually I'll copy pre-ceremony, so when I'm creating a bunch of other clips, I'll have that already copied. So I'm going to create another one right away. Pre-ceremony is already copied. Groom. Another one right away. Bride. Less typing, the faster you're going to be. This is going to save you a lot of time in the end, not having to type pre-ceremony over and over and over and over again. And then I'll make the folders later. At the very end, I'll place everything in folders, keep everything nice and organized like you can see in here. All the pre-ceremony are all in one folder. Now let's go into here, camera A. One of the first things I shoot is going to be establishing. So we'll create an establishing folder in our organized clips. New keyword, oh sorry, new keyword collection, not a folder. And we'll name it establishing. Now we have that set up. And we'll basically select everything that's establishing. So all establishing would be anything from the outside that's establishing our scene. And then basically I could just drag it right into establishing. Bam. All of that's organized. And if I want to do pre-ceremony bride, this is a detail of what's going on, so I would put that bam into detail. These are all kind of details as well. A little bit of details. These are less details, so I'll just put those into pre-ceremony bride. These are definitely details of the dress. So these would all go into a folder for details, pre-ceremony details. It's very important to have everything organized. So I would go through and find everything. These are ceremony details. So I would create a new folder for the ceremony and then name it details. Go back right there and I can just grab all these things. Basically the way that I'm grabbing them is pressing shift. I click on the first clip that I want to grab. I'll click on the first clip that I want to grab. The way that I do this to select a bunch is I click on the first clip that I want to grab, and then I'll click on shift on the keyboard, and then the last clip that I want to grab. It'll just grab all of them. And then I'll put these into ceremony details. These are details of the ceremony, close-ups of their name, things that were set up for the ceremony. These are all for the bride. You go in, basically organize all your clips. You want to organize all of these, everything. These are pre-ceremony groom. These are pre-ceremony groom. So you could basically just grab all of these from when all the grooms started showing. Where do they stop showing? Right here. I press shift. Bam. All of them are selected. Pre-ceremony groom. It's already in there. I go through everything and organize everything very well. So I have everything organized. You can see here, everything is perfectly organized. All the pre-ceremony groom that was shot. And the reception. All the reception details that were shot. All the establishing, like I had shown you, anything that happened in the cocktail hour. This is all there. It takes a second to load because I'm going between the libraries, but that's fine. It only takes a couple seconds. You can go through all of these. Everything's perfectly organized. The more organized you are, the better. Once you're fully organized, then you're going to watch the next video, and that's going to be how to sync everything from the ceremony and the reception, everything that you placed into the reception sync and the ceremony sync folders. See you soon.